Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today's video, we're going to be going over why I really don't cover Kindred Fates on my channel. So yeah, Kindred had their last news community newsletter on December 15th, and it talked about some kinfolk, some animations, and some other stuff. But I'm going to be honest, why is the lexicon page almost 50% of the news article? I find that a little ridiculous. It's just I don't know if they're just trying to do filler. I personally think the lexicon needs to go. If you don't know what the word means, you can easily Google it. It's just at least my mindset, but I won't rant on that anymore. But out of this newsletter, if you head down to the comment section, down all the way down to the bottom, there's a comment by Graham. So again, no communication about the beta, and we are left with there being no newsletter, further information until January 12th. Yeah, that'll be the next newsletter. You don't get to shadow drop the beta at this stage because of how you've handled the full release delay, where until you were called out, you didn't acknowledge the delay was happening. That privilege is lost. You set your own goalpost of 2023 for the beta, which was itself a delay, now ignoring basic requests in the community for any details regarding beta is just downright disrespectful. If you need to delay it, just say that. Any communication right now is better than none, but not the shadow drop the beta. You have lost that privilege. So what Graham is talking about is they straight up delayed the full release of the game and just put it in Steam. It like all of a sudden Steam just had 2024. No official message until they got nagged on Discord. Like legitimately, a bunch of community members complained, and then all of a sudden they had to make their update about it, which is what Graham is talking about. Which is honestly, it's kind of sussy behavior, to be honest. And then at this time, another person wrote, turn-based win. I concur with Graham's perspective. Additionally, what other information is the Sky Mills team withholding? This is all before the beta announcement Rob made. So I just want to put that in this perspective, guys. So there hasn't been any official communication from the community manager or Rob. Yeah, like there has been no contact from Sky Mills at all at this stage. And this was 3 days ago, which obviously was a little bit right before the 22nd. So on December 22nd, Rob made an announcement. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll post a link in the description down below so you guys can read the full thing. But what I'll do is I'll summarize kind of the key points here. So the Kindred Fates 2023 end of the year update highlights achievements and challenges. The story mode milestone shifted focus to polish the first chapter for potential funding. Major improvements included enhanced visuals and completed tutorial. The combat arena beta update was delayed, and the team apologizes for the lack of communication. The beta and full game release are postponed, with resources dedicated to the beta starting January 2nd. The beta will feature added content and improvements with updates and bi-weekly newsletters. Future efforts will focus on completing the beta and securing a publisher/investor. The team appreciates community support and promises transparency. The update expresses gratitude to the team and ends with an appreciation for sharing the game. So, my biggest issue with this latest update that Rob submitted, or Sky Mills, whoever you guys want to call it, Rob is basically taking all blame. But I'll be honest, this last update, honestly, to me, did more harm than solving problems. They could have easily just closed it saying, hey, we need more time. Hey, that's it. They could have easily just said that, and most of the community probably would have been all right with that. Like, honestly, the community is very quiet in general. There's not many people. Before they shut down the alpha, like, you could still play the alpha, but the alpha servers that Sky Mills was hosting, they were barely getting 3 or 4 people a day at the very end. So the community's not very active from what I see. I could be wrong, but from what I see, it's not very active. So my issues with the update, I noted that they have a contractual obligations preventing full disclosure, but they're actively seeking a publisher or investor. The question remains, who's the contracted party? Like, this is what really confuses. And like, I don't understand what this actually means, because normally in game development, if you're trying to get a publisher or an investor, you normally, like, you reach out and give them a demo, or they reach out to you, say, hey, we see your stuff, can you give us a demo? And you normally start from there, but nothing's under NDA because nothing's been, promised. So it really concerns me that it's really frustrating. Like, are they lying to us, or did they sign an NDA to keep the investor or publisher quiet before they do the actual agreement? It really doesn't make sense. It really brings up like red flags, honestly, to me. And it's just, and at this point, I need some transparency. I think the biggest problem with this is their lack of transparency. They've already self-delayed once. I mean, the game's already basically we're heading into 4 years into development. Like, the game was supposed to be out in 2023. So I understand delays happen. I might be rough on them, but I just feel like having this type of information, you can easily say to the community, like, hey, we're in talks with a publisher. That's all we can say. But like, are they actually under contract before they talk? Like, that's the way it seems like it's written. It's very odd. But my biggest problem in this whole picture is, why didn't they go after a publisher right after the Kickstarter? That, to me, that is the problem right there. They have lost so much hype, and I guarantee you that's why they're rushing to get this basically first level or first episode done, so they can actually show off what the game actually does. Because at this stage, they don't have anything to really show, because they can't really show the alpha combat. Like, the numbers, no publisher will sign, and it kind of shows. But yeah, let's go with my next point here. Is they mentioned, like, the beta hasn't even formally started. Like, what does that even mean? Like, that's so bad. Like, we were under the impression that it was being worked on, and it's not. I feel like the game's not even going to come out until 2025 or even 2026 at this stage. Like, supposedly beta's coming out next year. Obviously, they haven't given us a date. They just said it's been delayed. So if we go by past logic, that means it's a year. So we're going to push the beta combat to 2024 and the full release game to 2025. And I just don't see the game coming out in 2025. There's too many pieces that need to be finished, unless magically they get a publisher and they get a bunch of funding. Because let's be honest, the Kickstarter money, if you think about it, it's not cheap to develop a game. And over 700K, Sky Mills didn't get that whole 700K. They got taxes, Kickstarter fees, so they might have been lucky to get 400, 500,000 of that. They've had to pay for art. They got staff members. Obviously, I don't know the exact financial numbers. That would be an interesting video. If you guys ever want me to try to figure out what their financials are, it'd be a lot of research. But at this stage, I feel like they're kind of like, they're starting to run out of money, and they're kind of like trying to throw a Hail Mary at this point, trying to get a publisher to continue this game. Like, financially, I could see them hurting at this stage. Because let's be honest, like let's say you pay everybody like $60K. That's you can only withstand that for maybe 2 years, and on top of that, you have overhead. You got computers, you got rent, you got electricity, you got water, you got living needs like food, clothes, cars. Yeah, because trust me, that Kickstarter money is going to go real quick. If you do the math, if everybody gets $60K a year, or honestly, some of these artists that they have, it's not cheap. You know, sometimes commissioned art pieces, even just like just drawing Fakemon, you know, that could be $200-300, and that's just for basic art. That's not even for a 3D model. So it's definitely concerning about the whole financial situation, which is probably why they're really pushing for a publisher or an investor at this point. But their current numbers with how many people are playing the game, that's not going to get them. That's why that's basically, from the sounds of it, they said, screw the beta. We need to get this first level done, and we need to get some type of product to show so they can sell it. Because at this stage, they don't really have anything. They can't go off of the alpha combat. That's not going to give them a publisher. And then my other problem is I've been talking about the past delays and the stealth drop on Steam. That really hurt the community. And then all of a sudden, it just magically, oh yeah, we're sorry. It just, yeah, you guys lost the privilege on that. So going on forward, I hope you guys are more transparent about communication. Like, even like to prevent this whole drama thing, you could easily said, hey, in the December 15th newsletter, beta's being delayed. We need more time. Like, honestly, if you'd have wrote a simple statement like that, this probably would have prevented a lot of people backlashing, because at this stage, there's so many people waiting and waiting. And that's another thing that's really frustrating, is a lot of their communication is done Discord only. Not everybody uses Discord. Some people use Kickstarter. Some people use Twitter. I hate to say it, you guys got to use your socials, and you guys got to update simultaneously with your socials. You can't just do Discord and then 7 hours later go to Kickstarter and then go to Twitter 2 hours. You guys got to do it all at the same time. It's not fair to segregate your community because they're not using Discord. That's just, it's wrong. And then my other thing that I noticed in the update was the statement, starting January 2nd, 100% of our art and development resources will be devoted to beta. Lastly, we will continue to devote everything to the beta until it's complete. So the single player game that they're making doesn't use the same assets as the beta combat? Makes no sense. Because at this stage, what it sounds like is the alpha combat that's currently out is a completely different game. It's a different save file in their Unity. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're developing two separate games. I mean, if you go to their Steam, they technically have two Steam game IDs for two different games. One's for the full release, which I don't understand why they didn't do it on the other one. Like, they could easily, because if you actually go to Steam's, if you go to their Alpha Combat, they submitted that as a full release game. Like, they should have not, submitted it that way. They should have submitted it as an early access game, and then they can easily change the title from there. They literally wasted $100 on Steam to basically produce a new key. I think it's very frustrating. You can tell by the lack of game development experience from these guys, because they literally just wasted $100 just open up a new Steam key ID. They didn't really need to do that. But I can go on ranting all day There's other stuff that I could talk about, but I don't want to drag this video any longer. But yeah, let me know down below how you guys feel about this. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.